welcome back to part 2 with Kevin McCracken.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Those of you who haven't heard, we're trying to get lots of support here. So if you have a channel that you want us to have a look at and subscribe, just pop that down in the comments. We can start helping each other who are part of our community. Like, subscribe, share, do all those things. But we'd like to help you help yourselves as well. So this is the fun part of the fast fire questions. And those of you who are listening, it is Aware Meditation Inc. That is the actual, if you look that up, you'll see these cosmic chats on a YouTube and the other platforms. First question for Kevin is, in your dreams, when you fly, how do you do it?
I just kind of, it's actually not flying as much as it is these long jumps where I land somehow safely. So it's, there's nothing on me. It's just off whatever it is, a giant hill. I run and sort of just jump down. The most recent one was actually from the top of Mount Tam, which I'm right under here in Northern California, down to Muir Beach. And I just jumped off and just kind of landed on Muir Beach safely. So it's a very interesting dream.
Whoa, so you're a jumper.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep. Are there any foods that your body doesn't like, but you wish you did?
I think yes, actually. Eggplant. As a vegan, eggplant is in a lot of stuff, and it kind of makes me have it like an itchy mouth. And, you know, so it's kind of turned me off to, I don't know if I'm allergic to it or not, but it doesn't sit right, you know? So I just avoid it. And that's terrible if you're eating, you know, Indian food or, you know, other things that have eggplant in them, you know, because it's also delicious. So yes.
Do you ever see repeating numbers?
No, actually, I don't. I do not. I have lots of friends that do. And, you know, I used to think I did, but I think I was looking for one of them at that time.
Yeah, it doesn't quite count if you sit there and you look at it like, it's going to go, is it going to go, is it going to go? No. Where in the world have you not yet been to, but you'd like to?
Just had this conversation yesterday. I actually would love to go to Russia, of all places. I'm very curious, and I just want to see sort of the, you know, sort of the Cold War sites, you know, more than anything else. I also have like this strange sort of attraction to like areas that are no longer inhabited, like Chernobyl, although I wouldn't go there because of the radiation, but I find that to be sort of interesting. And, you know, just spaces that no longer have humans, to see what happens when we don't occupy a space that has once been occupied. Not obviously, I'm not talking, it's not the same thing looking at like frontier areas where there's very few humans. I'm talking about spaces that we used to occupy that are now void of human, you know, humans.
So anthropology is a secret love of yours.
It is. It is. I took anthropology in college, and it was one of my absolute favorite courses.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite phrase, whether it's in English or not?
I think it changes. I think more recently it's a little obscene, so I'm going to leave it off the show.
Okay. All right. Second favorite, not obscene phrase, please.
Oh, let's do it is actually my 3-year-old says, let's do it all the time when he's excited about stuff. And I've just taken it on. So like when we're going to go to the store and it seems like something that's mundane, like going grocery shopping, I'll look at him and say, Quinn, do you want to go to the store with me? And he'll say, let's do it. And I say, let's do it. Because he gets so excited, you know, so it kind of brings with it a super excitement.
Oh, that's rejuvenate, bring the enthusiasm back.
Exactly.
Right? Making everything an adventure.
Yep.
Right. The joy of children when you're not a parent, especially, is you get to rejuvenate that sense of wonder and really being in the moment, right?
Yep.
And appreciating all that we do have, gratitude that you talked about earlier on today.
Yep.
Nicknames. Did you have any nicknames?
I have had nicknames, and over the years I've been called Big Kev, GrandpaKev, because I seemed old before my time. I was a little bit of a curmudgeon when I was in my early 20s.
Oh, do you like the Cardis then? Grandpa
Yes.
parties. Okay.
Yes, of course. And so those are the only two that really come to mind. I mean, I'm sure I've had other slight ones, but everyone shortens my name. I get Kev all the time. That's like the regular. People feel real familiar with me for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm so welcoming, but I'd like to think.
Well, that's nice. That's very nice. Any situation that you had in your life that you were able to turn around what was happening because you foresaw that you could have turned it into a worse situation? An example is someone about to give you a ticket because you were speeding, and you can feel at any moment you're going to make this into something really bad, and you stopped and you ended up turning around into something more positive, for example.
I mean, those situations have come up for me many times. I think the most kind of profound recently is around customer interactions. So going into the situation where I know somebody is going to give negative feedback about the company or one of my employees, that I go in ready to accept it and ask them how we could have done it better, rather than try to tell them how we could have done it better, which is a new tool for me. I have recently been exploring the turn it around and ask a question rather than try to give an answer. So somebody comes to me with something negative, I say to them, well, how could I have done that to your satisfaction? And not in a sarcastic way, like genuinely, how can I do that better the next time? And so I'm sort of like testing the training wheels on that right now. So it's kind of up in my consciousness.
So my question following up with that is, how many of those responses do you get back which are solution based?
Well, when I ask the question genuinely, when I'm not just like irritated with the person because I think they're complaining, I get almost 100% of the time them saying, well, I would have appreciated, fill in the blank, and so I can go back to myself or my coworker and say, hey, I talked to so-and-so today, and they said that they would have appreciated like a more proactive approach around how you communicated their order delivery time, or how you communicated how they were going to see their proof, or the other things that we do in my business. So I think when I come into it with like sort of like very clear and positive intentions, I get back a lot of solution-based answers to it. When I go into it kind of like I'm just like doing it to kind of go through the motions, then I get just more complaints. If I'm like, look, I really want to do this better, we owe you better, what can we do? It really changes the conversation. So it's always based on where I'm coming from. What is my intention? Am I trying to pick a fight subtly with somebody, or am I trying to really solve this problem so they're happy? And that can go into any interaction.
Yeah, I was going to say, how's it working with your wife?
It works really well with her, actually. When I don't dig in and I say to her, I'm sorry, why, is there something that I'm doing that's making you irritated right now? And I'm being sincere about it, not being like a sarcastic, little brat about it. It really does. Like, and she appreciates it. She knows the difference too, obviously. So if I say to her, what do you need? What can I do to make this better? And I'm sincere about it. And I'm not affected if she comes back snappy because she's in a bad mood or whatever. It goes really well. If I come at it with that same question though, and there's even the slightest hint of sarcasm, it's a wrap. Conversation over. And I'm not winning that. I'll just be honest. Like, she's way smarter than me and has much more kind of intuitive sense around how to interact emotionally than I do. So I just have to like, it's all about like putting space between me and my comment, because me with no space between the comment is dangerous. So
it all goes back to that inward response, getting grounded, and then being present and honest with where you're at. So have you had situations where you have known that you are not being honest in what you're doing, and then it goes out sideways?
Yeah, I mean, it happens for me in the having a business partnership that's 12 years old, having a marriage that's 6 years old, having a former wife that I've known for 20 years, and 2 children. It's funny because it's so hard to change patterns, right? We're sort of patterned into these behaviors, and it's like your body almost like intuitively has this reaction. It's muscle memory, right? Because the brain is not a very that's where our intelligence supposedly lives, but it's not a very intelligent, muscle in our body. We really love habits. I mean, human beings love patterns, it just is more comfortable. And so if I'm being intentional in my responses, that means that I'm taking a breath and thinking at least for a few seconds on how I'm going to answer this and what tone I'm going to have. So those conversations still fail more than they succeed with me, because I'm still caught in that loop a lot of times. And I can be honest about that. I like to be right. It, for some reason seems like the thing that I want to do, but really being right is never as satisfying as I think it's going to be, And so taking the briefest moment, and I'll tell you what having done the baseline work has done for me is it's allowed me to do work with other kind of forms, like, somatic therapy and things, where I'm like learning how to really monitor my body. But had I not done the baseline of being able to quiet myself, I could have never done that. Mm-hmm. Learning the tools to quiet your brain so that then you can quiet your body. I mean, there's a clear path for me of how this occurred. And so I'm able to see a somatic therapist around childhood trauma now, because I've quieted my brain enough to actually receive some guidance from her on how I might quiet my body. Because when my body's really hyperactive, my brain does not respond well, So it's like how do I take a breath and calm myself, and it's a work in process for me. I'm 80% not perfect at it right now, and about 20% I do a really good job, mm-hmm. So but I'm okay with that result, because before I was a hair trigger at all times, didn't matter. You just looked at me funny. Well, you were saying something really nice, and I was like, they hate me, or whatever it was, so it's been a really interesting kind of learning experience for me, and being open to it was hard, because you also learn patterns in recovery, like this thing isn't okay or that thing isn't okay. And so it's like a breakdown of really old ideas, both in my family and in sort of my recovery family, and then in my daily life. So it's again, I'm okay with 2080 right now, and I'm hoping to continue to improve.
And I remember a tip given when I did improv performances in the Bay Area. Everyone will give you the loudest applause if you simply demonstrate failure on stage.
Yeah.
Exactly. And embrace it.
Yeah.
You are then being the triumph for everyone else. Trying to do it right will not get you the round of applause that you so want.
Totally true.
And with that, I hope you're all giving us round of applause and little claps for our little bit with Kevin here. We're so delighted that he participated with our cosmic chats and had some mindful conversations. If you want to go a little bit deeper, we've got links and things all about him in the description. And for that, we would like to say toodaloo.
Bye.